Hello, this is David Mitchell. I promised you 26 questions and answers on Messiah ben Yosef. So here are the next 5 questions, numbers 13 to 17. And these are all about how Messiah ben Yosef appears in texts that date from after Old Testament times. So here we go. Question number 13. Is there evidence for Messiah ben Yosef in early Second Temple Jewish literature? Yes, there is evidence. Messiah ben Yosef is represented, for instance, in the 2 oxen of 1 Enoch 90. Here is the text. It says, "And I saw that a white bull was born with large horns, and all the beasts of the field and all the birds of the air feared him and made petition to him all the time. And I saw till all their generations were transformed, and they all became white bulls. And the first among them became an aurochs. The aurochs was a great beast and had great black horns on its head. And the Lord of the sheep rejoiced over them and over all the oxen." So Enoch sees a white bull who is transformed into a great black aurochs with huge horns. And the commentators recognize the white bull as the Messiah. Pretty much everybody recognizes this, but they are all puzzled about how the black bull fits in. But these 2 oxen point straight back to the 2 oxen who represent Joseph's coming hero in Deuteronomy 33:17. And if you haven't seen that video is there. The white bull or ox is the Messiah, and his representation as an ox shows his lineage from Joseph, Ephraim, and Joshua. His whiteness shows that he is a faultless tzaddik. His large horns represent his power and his majesty, and the homage of the beasts and birds represents his acclamation among the nations. But he is destined to die, for he is a firstborn bull. As it says, the first among them, and the firstborn bull must die. And he is the first of a new species, and he brings about the transformation of all other creatures into his own likeness. Now, his sacrificial death is not described by Enoch, but its results are. The first result is that all mankind is transformed into the Messiah's image. The second result is that the Messiah himself is transformed, like the ox of Deuteronomy 33:17, or like innocent Joseph, from his servile state into a new estate of sovereignty and power. So this is not 2 messiahs, this is the Messiah of Joseph in his 2 different avatars or manifestations, the sacrificial and the sovereign. And so his return from death to life is implied as surely as a firstborn bull is destined to die. And then the exalted Messiah and all redeemed mankind live together in the favor of the Lord of the sheep, the God of Israel. I also suggest that Messiah ben Yosef is found in the Testament of Naphtali, in the Testament of Benjamin, in the Sibylline Oracles, in the Apocalypse of Ezra, in Joseph and Asenath, and in the book of Jesus ben Sirach. That would take a lot of explaining here, but you'll find it all in chapter 5 of my book, Messiah ben Yosef. Question 14. Does Messiah ben Yosef appear in the Dead Sea Scrolls? Yes, absolutely he does. There are 2 texts in particular. One is called 4Q Testimonia, and that dates from before 100 BC. And 4Q Testimonia presents 4 Redeemer figures who are to arise in future. One is a prophet like Moses, one is a king, one is a priest, and one is a second Joshua. Now, all the commentators are perfectly happy to identify the first 3 as representing messianic figures, that is, a messianic prophet, a king Messiah, and a priest Messiah. But the commentators seem to have nothing to say on the fourth figure. J.J. Collins even says the series concludes with a passage of no messianic significance. But that's a very strange conclusion indeed. If, as he agrees, the first three texts are about messianic figures, why is the fourth of no significance? Does he think the scribe was just wasting his time? But if the first three figures are messianic figures, then so is the fourth, and it represents a Joshua Messiah, that is, a Messiah ben Yosef. Another Dead Sea text is the Joseph Apocryphon 4Q372, that dates from before 200 BC. It speaks of a figure called Joseph by name, and like Zechariah's pierced king in Zechariah chapter 12, he suffers in the context of a future attack on Jerusalem, and then in his death agonies he cries out to God as his Father in Psalms to deliver him, and he predicts that he will rise again in glory. There are also several other Dead Sea texts and inscriptions from this period which may refer to Ben Yosef. You'll find all this in chapter 6 of Messiah ben Yosef. Question 15. When does Messiah ben Yosef first appear in rabbinic literature? The earliest rabbinic references to Messiah ben Yosef by name are in the Targums, although strictly speaking the Targums originated before the rabbinic movement. And I propose that Targum Tosefta to Zechariah 12 in the Codex Reuchlinianus is pre-Christian in origin, and it speaks of Messiah bar Ephraim being slain by Gog at the gate of Jerusalem. The Targum Yerushalmi on Exodus 49-11 also features Messiah ben Yosef, whom it calls Messiah bar Ephraim. Ephraim was Joseph's son, so Messiah bar Ephraim is Messiah ben Yosef. And there Messiah bar Ephraim appears together with the King Messiah of the house of Judah and the prophet Elijah of the house of Aaron. More rabbinic, fully rabbinic, is the reference to Messiah ben Yosef in the Talmud Bavli, Babylonian Talmud, in Tractate Sukkah 52. It records a rabbinic discussion about Messiah ben Yosef, which must have taken place while the temple was still standing. We can tell that from the context. And all the rabbis speak of Messiah ben Yosef as a figure who was perfectly familiar to them all in temple times. And the topic of their discussion is Zechariah chapter 12 and the mourning there. The Talmud text says, "What is the cause of this mourning?" Rabbi Dosa and the rabbis differ. One says the mourning is for Messiah ben Yosef who is slain, and the other says for the evil inclination which is slain. It is well, according to him who says for Messiah ben Yosef who was slain, for this is what is written, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him like the mourning for an only son. But according to him who says the evil inclination which is slain, is this an occasion for mourning? Is it not an occasion for rejoicing rather than weeping? In other words, Rabbi Dosa ben Harkinas says the mourning is for slain Messiah ben Yosef. But the other rabbis disagree. They say the mourning is for the evil inclination, that is, the human propensity to evil. But the Talmud redactor, the Stama, he says that Rabbi Dosa is correct. No one disagrees that the evil inclination is also slain. So in fact, the rabbis agree that there are two deaths in Zechariah 12:10. Messiah ben Yosef and the evil inclination both die. And somehow their deaths are related. And so, as we saw in Zechariah 12, it is the death of the Messiah which kills the evil inclination. And you'll get much more on all of this in Messiah ben Yosef chapters 7 and 9. Question 16. What is the reason for Messiah ben Yosef? As I suggest in the earlier video, the figure is implied, Messiah ben Yosef is implied in the prophecies of Jacob and Moses in Genesis 49 and Deuteronomy 33, which also speak of the coming of the Messiah from Judah. So the answer is that the purpose or the reason for Messiah ben Yosef is ultimately the same as the reason for the Messiah from Judah. He is part of the heavenly plan to free Adam's children from the power of the serpent. However, the two Messiahs bring this about in different ways. Messiah ben Yosef's part is to suffer and die for the expiation of sins, but Messiah ben David's part, the Judah Messiah's part, is to rule the world in righteousness. Question number 17. What is the connection between the son of Joseph and the son of David in Rabbinic literature? In Rabbinic literature, Messiah ben Yosef and Messiah ben David both play an important part in the final redemption. Messiah ben Yosef always comes first. As it is said, he came first in Egypt and he will come first in the age to come. And he comes to prepare the way for Messiah ben David by dying in battle with the Romans or the Arabs at the gate of Jerusalem. This is an idea that the rabbis draw from Zechariah 12, which is why they call him the War Messiah. And they say that his death is a sacrifice which will expiate Israel's sins so that Messiah ben David will come. As it is said, if they are not pure, Messiah ben Ephraim will come, and if they are pure, Messiah ben David will come. So his death is connected with the purification of the Israelites before the final redemption. Ultimately, Messiah ben Yosef will be raised to life again, and then he and Messiah ben David will lead Israel together like Aaron and Moses. Finally, any discussion of post-Old Testament texts should rightly have something on Messiah ben Yosef in the New Testament, for he is there too. But we'll keep that till the next video, so I'll see you then. Thank you for listening. God bless you, and blessed be Jesus, the Messiah.